Hey everybody, and welcome to another ActionFeatures.net Toy Talk review, continuing our series on the Diamond Select Ghostbuster figures. Today's review focuses on the 7-inch Egon Spengler figure from Series 2. Yeah, we're doing all the Series 2 figures before the Series 1, it seems like, but we just do things a different way, so, you know, have fun reliving Series 1 after we get done here. Alright, so the packaging, we talked about this before on our first review with Peter, but just to reiterate here, this packaging carries forward through all of the Diamond Select releases, through their Marvel line, and their Muppets, and their Universal Monsters. All of them carry the same motif, where it's a bubble, like the clamshell area, attached to a card back, with a little bit of extra cardboard here, kind of giving more description of the figure. They always put a large image along this side, so if you have them all on a bookshelf together, you get these big images all together. So we see it's Egon and his Ghostbusters logo, and then the same on the front of the package, you've got that shot of Egon, the Ghostbusters logo running up the side, and the Select here. Everything's all bundled together inside. The back of the packaging features a large shot of the Egon figure, the collect all 15 figures to build the rooftop, Peter Venkman and Dana from Series 2, the other figures that are available in this wave, and then a brief description about Egon, which I will now read to you. Dr. Egon Spengler was performing psychological research at a large New York City university when his funding was unceremoniously cut, leaving himself and his colleagues, Ray Stantz and Peter Venkman, out of work. However, a close encounter with a phantasm gave the trio the data they needed to catch and contain a supernatural entity, inspiring a new venture, the Ghostbusters. As the chief architect of their ghost detection, trapping, and containment technology, Egon was well versed in what could go wrong if any of the devices were misused, but he was willing to take a massive risk in order to save the city. In his spare time, Egon collects spores, molds, and fungus. The 7-inch scale action figure is based on the 1984 feature film Ghostbusters, and features multiple points of articulation as well as accessories and diorama parts. It was sculpted by Gentle Giant Studios. As that just said, this is the version that includes the diorama parts. You collect all 15 figures of the Ghostbusters Select line, and you'll be able to build the giant rooftop scene from the end of the film. And it looks to be a massive diorama once it's all set up. So this version is at specialty shops like comic shops and some online retailers, and includes a large diorama piece packaged in behind here. There is a version at Toys R Us of all the Series 1 figures and the Series 2 figures that did not include these diorama parts. They're much less expensive, almost half the, about half the price at $12.99, but you don't get the large diorama piece. You get everything else, all the extra hands, proton pack, proton stream, whatever you want to call all those pieces. I guess those would just be standard accessories, and this would be the deluxe accessory. But you get all that at the Toys R Us version for $12.99. So you're paying an extra $12 to get this diorama part, and when you have it by itself, it may not seem worth paying double the price. Once this is all set up, then you'll be thanking yourself for buying the deluxe versions. Alright, so that about covers everything on the package version. Let's get him out of there and take a look at him loose. Alright, and here we have Dr. Spengler out of the box. Just like Venkman, he comes with a lot of stuff. I'm going to try and remember to cover everything, but if I miss something, hopefully I covered it in the Venkman review, and I won't seem like a fool for missing it here, and I'm just pretending like I don't want to repeat myself. Okay? Okay, let's start with articulation, and then we'll work over our way to the accessories and such. He has a rocker joint ankle, and that also hinges up and down. Venkman had pants that went all the way down to the ankle. He's the only Ghostbuster that has that. So the rest all have these sculpted boot tops. But the articulation's the same, so it's not like a big difference. He's got the double knee joint at the top and the bottom of the knee. He's got the mid-thigh swivel. He's got hips that hinge out and then swivel up and down. He has a swivel waist, but mine is stuck at the moment, and I don't feel like really kind of popping it apart right now. I just haven't done it yet. But he does have that joint there. It's intended to be there. I just haven't moved mine. And then he's got the mid-torso joint. Not a ton of movement on that mid-torso joint. It might have to do with the proton pack kind of bumping up against stuff, but it feels like there's not much free space there anyway to work with. He's got a shoulder joint that hinges out and then swivels up and down, and that's probably the loosest joint on all the figures for me. But I'm not saying it's loose, it just is the loosest of the bunch. Everything on mine feels like it holds the pose really well. There's even like a slight ratcheting to the hips, so you're not stuck with something there that's going to do the splits over time. The elbow joint swivels where it inserts into the upper arm and then hinges. And the same with the wrists where they pop into the lower arm, they swivel, and they also have hinges. Some of them hinge in and out, some of them hinge up and down. and then the head is on a ball joint. So that covers all the articulation. As far as the extra pieces that are on the figure, just like Venkman, the belt is a separate piece, the proton pack is a separate piece, and then the pack itself, where it goes onto the rigging, it feels like that's two separate pieces, which is a nice attention to detail. He has, now his belt, I think his belt, Ray's belt, and Peter's belt, I think they all have the same configuration where the gear is, but I think Winston's is different. I think his part where you put the proton pack on, or I'm sorry, the ghost trap on, this little piece right here, I feel like it's situated on the other side, if I remember right. But each of them have that piece that you could plug the trap onto if you end up getting multiple Winstons to get multiple traps. As far as paint goes, mine is pretty clean. Again, I don't see any major slop spots. The thickness of the paint on the face maybe pulls back on the detail that the sculpt initially had, but it's still not bad by any means. It's a nice clean paint job. I will say that the glasses are my least favorite part of it. I don't think that they executed those very well. I think they're kind of oddly shaped. They don't quite sit on the face the way I want them to. It's not a horrible job, and if it's the biggest complaint I have of the entire figure, especially if you got this at Toys R Us for $12.99, that's not the big of a complaint to have. Other than that, I think the wash is handled well. It's like a Buster that's seen some action and not a bright, clean, unpainted suit. So I think that overall it's executed well. Okay, as far as the proton pack goes, the detailing on it is really nice. I said this before in Venkman. I may not know what every hose color is supposed to be, but that looks like a pretty great proton pack to me. I'm going to try and zoom in just a bit on the proton pack. Get up there. Now, I'll have clearer pictures of all this stuff on the website. We'll link it at the bottom of the info section if you're watching this on YouTube. But you see there's a nice flat black color to the whole thing, and then all the little wires are painted. There's all these little warning labels that are actual stickers that have been applied and kind of glued onto there, and they each have writing on them. It's really well done. Again, I'm not an expert on exactly what every tiny thing on a proton pack should be, but that looks pretty darn great to me. It has a small little upside down V protrusion here, which is where you're supposed to plug your proton pack onto it. It works okay, but the proton gun, the neutrino wand, does kind of flop off of there over time. It's not the best system. I wish it was maybe a magnet or just a peg that plugged in, but I think they were trying to get a more accurate look as opposed to something that was going to stay on there and not be accurate. The Mattel figures do a good job of staying on the proton pack, their wands, but it's maybe not the most accurate proton pack in the world. If you do want to store your gun and you don't want to use that back section because it's kind of tricky to play around with, you can always just plug them into the belt piece here and just have them hanging off the belt, which is fine. Okay, so, or it could fall off of that too, as I've just happened to me. That reminded me I need to pull back the camera, so it's a good thing it happened. That's right, that's the ticket. Alright, let's get that back on there. Please don't fall off of there again, because then you make me look like I don't know what I'm talking about. So don't do that again, okay? Alright, so extra hands. He comes with, as you see, I have the gloved hands on there now. The figure comes, I think, with the flesh-toned, non-gloved hands on. And you get a good assortment of hands for this figure. You've got a sort of relaxed grip, non-gloved hands, and then you've got the full-on gripped hands, and then you've got the fists hands. Let's see, is there two fists? There might not be two fists. Oh yeah, it looks like there's one that's really open on the side. Well, I'll take pictures of all these hands. Oh, you know what it is? Let's see. Yeah, it is. That one goes there. So it's, oh, okay, I got it. We get 4 right hands and 2 left hands. And that's probably the same way with Venkman, and I didn't even pay attention. But you saw that in the pictures, so I don't seem like a complete and utter buffoon. Let's drop you down just a little bit. So we get 6 flesh-toned hands, non-gloved versions, and then we get 2 set of glove versions, which are the tighter grip and the loose grip. And these are great, the way they handled this. You just pop these guys right off the little cuff section, and they include a cuff section for each of the gloved hands. So you get 4 cuff sections with the 4 gloved hands, and then you just pop on the flesh-toned hand that you want, and it goes right in there. Now, I've heard a lot of people having problems where the pegs break off, and I don't see how, because I haven't had a single problem with mine. It hasn't even felt like it would want to break. Maybe I just got lucky. But if you're feeling like you might have an issue with that, just heat it up with a hairdryer or something first to get this plastic a little softer before you switch out the hands. You might not end up with any breakage if you do that. Let's get this neutrino wand into this hand. And that's pretty easily posed to do the two-handed pose, because I want to do the stream on there. Come on, don't do this to me. You want to make it easy for me. All right, there we go. So we got the two-handed hold right now. Just like with Peter, he comes with the stream with the plastic clip that were not included with the first wave figures. You can contact the Diamond Select customer service and get these little plastic clips to add to your first series figures so that they can then plug on to the end of the wand. It's pretty easy to do. You just plug it right on there, and there you've got the stream going on. Okay, last couple of accessories here. Each of the Ghostbusters except for Peter comes with a unique piece of ghost-busting equipment. Egon comes with the PKE meter. Ray came with the goggles, Winston comes with the trap, and Egon, of course, comes with the PKE meter. This is nicely detailed. It's got a good sculpt. You've got the little green screen and a bunch of little yellow and red buttons, and then the two silver arms, I won't call them. Those are all popping out of there. I don't really have the hand set up for this right now, but hopefully he can just kind of hold it for me. Oh, no, you're not going to. I would have to switch hands, but I'm not going to do that, so you'll have to wait until you see pictures. And then each of them comes with a walkie-talkie, and that plugs in right there. Okay, last but not least, he comes with a diorama piece, and this is similar to the piece that we just looked at with Peter, except he doesn't have the extra stairs section. So it's just the bottom pieces of the stairs, a brick pattern, and this larger piece right here, which is on the opposite side with the Peter figure. That's a good little section, but again, if you're buying these at Toys R Us, you're getting them for $12.99. If you're buying them at specialty shops, you're paying almost 25 bucks, maybe a little bit cheaper. And at that point, paying the 12 bucks for the one piece may seem like it's tough, but when you got it all together, it's going to be awesome, right? Okay. All right, so let's set him there and take a look at the Mattel version of the movie Egon Spengler. You can see the size difference is pretty major. As far as the paint detailing goes and the articulation, it's a big difference. I'll have a still picture of this in the gallery, but there they are compared in the video. I'd say the only way that Mattel really got the better of them is I think the glasses were better executed. The likeness is probably a bit stronger on this Mattel version. I'd say the Egon, or the Harold Ramis likeness was one of the best that Mattel pulled off. So the Egon head is a bit better on the old Mattel figure, and the hose going out of the pants being a clear color as opposed to a solid yellow is superior on the Mattel version, but everything else I would give to the Diamond Select version, me personally. Okay, so that about wraps him up, and we're going to take him over to the couch and give our final thoughts on Egon Spengler. Hey everybody, we're back with another Diamond Select Ghostbusters review. This is the couch portion. We give our thoughts on the figure. The last one was Peter Venkman. Yeah. We had to talk about the whole line in general, so we're not going to repeat all that stuff here. That'll be the longest of all these videos. These rests will be short, but just remember all those things from the first one where we talked about the Mattel line and what we think is cool and what we think is not cool and all those things. Yeah. You might get some new information in this one, but we're not going to repeat ourselves. Yeah. What do you expect? Oh, and Blaze said after we ended the video, which was a perfect time to say it. Not really a perfect time to say it.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt the video.
He said we should have ended it like Dr. Venkman's World of the Psychic from Ghostbusters 2. This is Dr. Venkman saying whatever it was he said.
He didn't say anything.
We should have done that.
He didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything. He was using his psychic powers.
He was just
He was saying goodbye in his mind to the psychics. Okay, one thing we forgot to mention on the Peter Venkman video was that he didn't come with a unique ghost-busting piece of equipment. Mm-hmm. Whereas, Ray's got the ecto goggles, Winston's got the trap, Egon, as we're about to look at, has the PKE meter. Peter has nothing extra. Yeah. We were all saying he should come with a ghost sniffer. Even though he doesn't use it in the uniform, he uses it in Dana's apartment. Mm-hmm. He's
just like...
Are you sure you're using that thing right? Well,
I think so.
There's no other... Well, I think so. Yeah, it's that would have been the perfect thing for him to come with. And when they were first talking about Egon, they weren't sure he was going to be including the PKE meter. So it's possible that they just didn't get that done in time, and they realized that the PKE meter is very important to come with Egon. So getting it out of the way right now, he does come with the PKE meter. If you're going to include the PKE meter with anybody, you include it with Egon. That's the guy that uses the PKE meter.
Out of the 3 that come with extra accessories, Ray and Egon have the 2 that they have to have. No Winston's is anyone can have it.
Yeah,
Ray always wears the goggles, you're right.
The
And
trap's just
Egon's
anybody
always
can
got
have
the PKE meter. So yeah, the trap, all of them could use a trap.
Peter could have come with it.
Peter could have come with a trap
Yeah,
too. They could have just reused
Yeah.
Winston's trap to go with it, but they knew they were going to sell Peter regardless.
Yeah.
Peter is going. Everybody's going to buy him.
Yeah.
They don't include extras.
He'll
in
most
it.
likely be the best seller.
Everybody loves Peter. Peter is the top Ghostbuster. So they knew it's probably not their logic in it, but you don't need to include anything with extra with Peter. You don't need to try and sell Peter Venkman. Peter Venkman is going to sell.
So, no matter what.
No matter what you do. Whereas Egon, he may not be the most popular Ghostbusters, but when I was a child, Peter Venkman's my favorite now.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, Egon was my favorite. Because I was a nerd kid. I'm still a nerd. And it was cool having a hero amongst the Ghostbusters that was like, he's a nerd. Like,
Yeah.
he loves books, and there's a net. Go away, Nat.
I saw
So, okay. That's creeping me out.
Go
away?
It's on me.
Smash him.
He's
Okay, that was... oh, there he is.
Ow.
I got him. Sorry about that. There was a gnat floating around down here. You never can tell what's going to happen in the videos. So he was my favorite as a kid because I was a nerd, and he was a nerd, and that was my favorite. As I grew older, and I was like, wow, that Peter Venkman's pretty funny. That's a pretty funny dude right there.
You have to realize, Peter Venkman does not collect molds, spores, or fungus.
He doesn't, and I wanted to collect spores, molds, and fungus as a kid because Egon did.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I really like Egon. He's not considered one of the top 2 by Diamond or other toy companies, which is that's Ray and Peter, but all 4 Ghostbusters are essential. You're not going to buy just one Ghostbuster. I'm sorry, you're just not going to do it.
Right.
Okay, so his rooftop piece, he comes with less than Peter did. Maybe that's why. Peter had this piece plus stairs.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that's what does it. I don't know. But he just comes with this piece. And again, you could buy him with the stuff at the comic shop for $25. Sometimes less than that if you can find the right shops. So a lot of shops offer discounts, especially if you buy all 3. Whereas Toys R Us has him right now for $12.99. That's dirt cheap for these.
It really is.
You got to get on that. That's $12.99. That's crazy.
Like, what's it now? $20 for a Mattel one?
Yeah, $20 for the Mattel ones that have been using that same body for so many years now. That's crazy.
I'm not saying the Mattel ones are bad, but the head sculpts are much better on these.
The head sculpts are much better on these. I think the only weak thing is maybe the paint all over the head sculpt. So sometimes the paint is a bit weak. And it gets in the way of a really nice sculpt. Gentle Giant sculpted all of these, and they did a fine job, I think. It's just sometimes the paint is a little too thick to get that lightness just right. Whereas the Mattel ones, I'm sorry, they're molded in flesh tone, so all they have is just a flesh tone skin and not so much a painted skin for them to go over the likeness with. But even then, especially think like figures like Ray, the likeness is way better on the Diamonds. Like it's night and day.
I was going to look at those 2 together.
That's crazy difference.
That's the most obvious one.
I think the closest call is Egon, because Mattel's Egon is the best of the 4, in my opinion. I think he's really great. And they got the glasses really done well in the Mattel version. They had that clear lens in there. You okay, what? They had that clear lens in there, and they were the right size. There's an Egon right down there.
It's cool.
His proton pack's broken, but so yeah, they had this lens. The shape is right. Everything's really good on those. These, I think that if there's one drawback amongst the Ghostbusters line for Diamond Select, it's the glasses.
Yeah.
The Lewis ones aren't that great. The Egon ones just aren't that great.
I can't even see his eyes.
I can see his eyes, but they're not the right shape. They don't have lenses. I think that's the weakest part of the figure.
So that's another problem that we might run into with Janine.
That's another problem that might happen with Janine, yeah. But her glasses were kind of big in the movie.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll be okay.
Yeah,
What were you going to say?
They're so tiny.
The glasses?
Yes.
Yeah, they're very small. It's almost like the ones made for this Mattel one are bigger than... Like, the circles look bigger on the Mattel one than they do on the Diamond one.
Yeah.
But that's a minor gripe. If you're going to be hung up on just the glasses, if you're going to look at these 2 figures and say this is better than this, when this was 20-some bucks plus shipping, and this is $13.
Without the diorama piece.
Then you're crazy. I'm sorry, but you're crazy. This one's weak on paint detailing. The articulation's not that great. The body sculpt is not that great.
There is one thing I really like about this also.
What's that?
The tube.
The tube, yeah. The P tube is also clear. But overall, this has got it beat 10 ways to Sunday. I don't know if that's a saying, but I just said that.
Yeah.
You can beat it 10 ways to Sunday with this figure. There's just so much more going on here, so much more detail, better articulation, better paint apps as far as the whole body goes, different ways they did things like the elbow pads are done better in that two-piece configuration, being able to switch out the hands and having glove versions, non-glove versions, the proton pack being so detailed with all those stickers and things. It's just overall this is a better figure. They all come with these walkie-talkies too. They come out of there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they come out of their little pouches.
They
They come out, yeah. So that's a nice little extra too, being able to take the walkie-talkies out.
That's cool because Peter used to in the first movie he was like, Ray, it's right in front of me.
Yeah, it's right
It's
here,
looking
Ray.
at me.
It's looking at me.
I think it can hear
I
you,
think
Ray.
he can hear you, Ray. Yeah. He's an ugly little spud, isn't he? There's another thing I was going to mention. Oh, too. A little detail that I noticed in the movie and that they captured on the figure, that's really close attention to detail, is that Egon's collar on his jumpsuit is flipped up a lot of the time in the back. Like it's like flipped like this. And this figure has that flip in his collar. That's a nice catch on detail.
It really is.
And that's something you can do when you're doing unique sculpts amongst all four. Whereas, this one is stuck with the same body for all four guys. So there's not going to be little changes like a flipped up collar, a little bit of poof to the belly maybe, stuff like that. Things that are unique to what each Buster has, you couldn't get on these Mattel figures.
Right.
And I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm throwing rocks at these, because they are still fun figures. And they're great as toys to play around with. These I would have loved to have as a kid. Loved it.
These are the ones I have, right?
Yeah, these are the ones you've got.
They're not as good as those.
They're not as good as those, but you love playing with them. And that's fine.
And those aren't as much
Yeah.
play with toys. Those are more collectibles that sit on a shelf.
You got it. This probably can't stand up to the play you put your figures on through. Like, you probably couldn't take these guys in a tub and have them jump off the tub. I'm not saying you put toys in the tub. I'm saying a person could do it. I'm not saying you. I know you're not doing that. I'm sorry. I'm not saying Keaton takes his Ghostbusters in the tub. I'm saying a person couldn't. A person couldn't. If they chose to go in the tub with their figures, they shouldn't take these in the tub. They can take these in the tub. Got it? I'm not saying you.
I don't think it.
You did when you were little. When you were real little, you used to take toys in the tub. When you were a little guy.
Like when I
A
was
few years
1?
back.
When you were one. When you were one, yes. Only when you were one. Okay, just playtime in general. Let's take the whole bathtub situation out of this whole thing.
Yeah. Make
Playtime in general. The things you put your figures through, and not that you're rough with your figures, but these, sometimes you are a little rough. These couldn't stand up to some of those things, I don't think. They would start to loosen their joints, or maybe their paint would get scratched and stuff like that.
Sometimes I drop them, sometimes I make them punch each other.
Yeah, those kind of things are not, this is an adult collectible. Although these, I think, were marketed as adult collectibles. They really shouldn't have been.
Now. Everything is.
Yeah, everything.
Reaction toys are.
Yeah, this is more of a play around with action figure. And maybe that's one of the things that Mattel had to worry about, too, is that they were thinking that these need to be able to be played with by kids, so we need to make them so they're durable. But they were only available on Matty Collector at the time, so they would have really had forward thinking to think that maybe these weren't going to be like that eventually.
Like Ken, I prefer the Diamond Select ones, but when those were all that was around,
They were great for them.
Fine, but
They were great for them.
I prefer the Diamond Select because I put all my toys that I like are still in my cases.
Yeah,
Or in
you
cases
just display
now.
your stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't like play with them
prefer to
all.
buy those.
Yeah, I would think that these are much better as an adult collectible to have displayed on the shelf. Plus, you get such a great look of these sculpts and their uniqueness and all the stuff they have going on and all the detailing that, you would have this on a shelf and it would really pop out like, wow, that's a really cool set of Ghostbusters you've got there. If you had these on the desk at work, these may not get the same kind of attention on a shelf that those will. Other than that, everything is kind of the same, where we talked about the proton stream before and its coloring and the ways the hands switch out and how cool of a thing that was. Overall, it's going to be pretty much the same deal here. So, Egon, great addition to the line, weak on the glasses. Also, maybe not so happy with him smirking. Egon doesn't smile like the entire movie.
In the first one, yeah.
Yeah, he pretty much sticks to not smiling. Like, Harold Ramis made a conscious decision not to smile. So there's very few instances where you see Egon smile in the first movie. Maybe if he talks about after the Twinkie.
Yeah,
He kind of smiles as he eat it. you can kind of take it as that. Or the end scene when he's happy to see Janine and all that stuff, maybe then. But overall, I would like a more stoic Egon. But still, awesome figure. And if you don't have the space for a diorama, go to Toys R Us and get it because it's only $13.
Right.
That's a killer deal. I guess that's it, right?
Well, I just want to say one thing.
Yeah.
I would like it if Diamond Select got more lines like this.
That'd be cool.
I could see Back to the Future toys like this. That would be
I
cool.
really would.
That would be really awesome.
I would love Back to the Future toys like this.
You know, they've done stuff with the Back to the Future line. They do those DeLoreans.
Yeah, the DeLoreans.
And that's the same kind of thing that they did with Ghostbusters, where it was like, we did mini-mates. They're going to do a scaled ecto eventually. So maybe that's something that they will pursue. Maybe there's some kind of deal. I don't know what the likenesses are like with that. They may have to pay for likenesses, where I think that these likenesses are included with the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay extra to each actor. They have to get approval still, so that each one of the actors has to approve these likenesses, but they don't. I don't think they have to pay separate for it.
Another movie I'd like it like this would be Big Trouble in Little China.
Man, you guys are killing it.
That place at the end too. You could build a diorama of Little
That would be
Pan's place.
awesome. That would be really, really cool.
That would be really cool.
I just have to say that I have two of the coolest kids on the planet, and then they're wanting Back to the Future figures and Big Trouble in Little China figures. I don't mean to gloat, but there's got to be people who are jealous of that. I would be jealous of that if I ran into some adult and their kids were like, "Man, I really wish I had Back to the Future and Big Trouble in Little China figures." I'd have been like, "Wow, somebody's doing something right." So yeah, Big Trouble in Little China and Back to the Future both would be awesome from Diamond Select. Those would be killer.
No one's going after Back to the Future anymore, except for Funko. They're doing the reaction, which
And Hot Toys.
Yeah, Hot Toys. I buy the Funko, but I'd like more detailed ones like this.
It'd be really great to have detailed ones. And again, I don't know what their rights would be, but they could do like a clock tower,
Yeah.
playset or something like that.
Are they doing an Indiana Jones in that scale?
No, I think that Indiana Jones, that would be cool. Indiana Jones would be awesome as well. I think Indiana Jones is still tied up with Hasbro or something. I don't know who's got that right now.
That'd be awesome.
It would be
That'd
cool. The Disney Parks did a 7-inch Indiana Jones, but it wasn't as good as the Diamond Select or NECA stuff.
There would be about a few characters for this movie, but Commando.
Well, NECA did Commando.
Yeah.
And they did it really good.
And they did it
too.
really good.
What?
Remember that?
No, I don't remember.
We're not even doing
Yeah.
a Ghostbusters video.
Yeah, we're just
anymore.
jumping off. Okay, we gotta get back to track. So there'd be a lot of cool other licenses they could do stuff with. But as far as this one goes, Egon is, of course, a must-have. You gotta have all 4 Ghostbusters. You're gonna run into the not must-haves later on in other videos.
Walter Peck.
Walter Peck is not a must-have unless you're building the diorama. And I'm curious if Diamond will even pick up those waves. Or Toys R Us will pick up those waves.
Yeah.
I know they're picking up Wave 3, but I don't know about beyond that. Because Wave... Well, hang on one sec, buddy. I would think that, like a Wave with Walter Peck, it'd be tough to sell a $13 Walter Peck, even.
But it's so cheap and you have the rest of the line, might as well.
It is cheap.
Mattel sold it for $20.
But I think that they did. I think that the big draw for those lesser characters is to get the diorama pieces, and it was a very smart move on Diamond's part,
It was.
making such a big diorama and making it into 15 pieces, because then you can do characters like Walter Peck, like Janine, which I have to get on a little sidetrack here. There were a lot of people online on the Ghostbusters forum saying, I really don't need Janine. That's a figure I could maybe skip. I'm kind of, seems like I'll buy her because I have to get the diorama, but I don't really need her. How can you not be excited about that Janine?
It's the first Janine.
It's the first
Besides the
movie
animated
Janine.
line.
Yeah, Mattel never did Janine.
Yeah.
And Janine is a major part of Ghostbusters.
And why would you get Walter Peck but not?
Yeah, you can't
Exactly.
Walter Peck and then not...
Janine is awesome. Janine is so cool in the movie. She's very funny. She gets some of the best comedy bits in the movie.
I've quit better jobs than this.
Yeah, it's Ghostbusters, what do you want? She's an integral part of Ghostbusters. Why you would not be happy that they're doing Janine?
I'm excited.
Be excited about Janine.
If I start buying this line, I will 100% buy
You
Janine.
need Janine, dude.
You have her with the Ghostbusters. She's part of the group.
Exactly.
Like Slimer. If you're going to buy Slimer,
You
buy
need Janine.
Yeah.
You got the 4 Ghostbusters, Janine, Slimer. Now you've got the core heroes.
Yeah.
That's what you need. And then you can count the other guys as villains, like Lewis as Vins, and Bana as Zool, and Walter
Peck's
Peck,
a villain.
Gozer, all the ghosts. You got all those villains, guys. But man, Janine.
Yeah.
Janine's awesome. That's crazy talking to me.
If they move on to the animated line, I would love.
Oh my goodness, I'd be so excited.
In a Ghostbuster uniform, like from the Sandman episode.
Dude, that would be so
Like
awesome.
Means Genie.
There's so many cool things they could do with the Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters cartoon. I could see them doing like the main area of the firehouse as a build-a-play set. That would be really cool. Either in Ghostbusters 2 or as a real Ghostbusters line. And I wouldn't even mind if they ever reuse these same bodies.
Yeah, they're basically they're more or less the same, just paint them different.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if they reuse these for Ghostbusters 2, because this being a separate piece could make it so you could do the slime blowers.
Blower, yeah.
Easily. Oh, you go ahead and say something. I'm going to finish up after you, because I don't want you to forget what you're saying.
Okay, about the cartoon Ghostbusters, if they did it that scale.
Like this, yeah.
I would want the huge monster that went in the machine on the episode of where the Ghostbusters went to Hollywood.
Take 2.
Oh yeah, that was a great episode. Take 2.
The
That
big
was a good
monster
episode.
where the monster.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Where it wakes him up because he doesn't like the noises or whatever it was
And-
in the studio. Was that what it was?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what
He
it
didn't like
is.
the noises. Yeah.
The sleeping monster.
Yeah. That would be awesome. There'd be so many giant cool things. Murray the Mantis.
I just want to say that's my favorite 80s cartoon. Ghostbusters.
It's great.
Is my
It
favorite.
holds up so well. I mean, it's not. I love Transformers. I love G.I. Joe. I loved all those things as a kid. But rewatching them as an adult, it's definitely kids' shows. Whereas Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters, yeah. Real Ghostbusters, you can watch it as a kid, as an adult, everything. It's a perfectly made cartoon.
It goes
really
right
is
along
great.
with the movies. If you're
It
in a
does.
Ghostbusters movie,
It just goes
you can
from one right to the other one.
In the episodes that lead right into it.
Yeah, that take
helps.
place off of the movie, those are really cool
Like
too.
the one where
Citizen Ghost is what you're
Yes.
going to talk about, where they had the uniforms.
yeah.
That'd be cool if they
Yeah.
did that too, because
love-
they could just reuse the bodies.
They could do lots of cool things. If they
Except-
did the real Ghostbusters, they could do so many cool things.
Except for the blast
Yeah.
one, have to be green.
Oh yeah, they are more of a yellowish green in the cartoon than they are in the movies. Yeah, I think that they could reuse these same bodies and do like animated style heads. Just like all along, I kept saying, why is it Mattel doing that? They're reusing the same body again and again anyway. Just throw animated heads on that. They did those weird Mego things.
Yeah, that was weird.
They did those weird Mego things.
And I had a Ray for a while.
Because you really wanted a cartoon Ray, but it was like, I guess I have to buy a Mego version, which makes no sense because Mego wasn't popular during the time Real Ghostbusters was
And
on.
then they made the Janine, I can't remember the guys, the pumpkin head,
Sam Hain?
Yeah.
That 2-pack? Which is
Sa-
cool.
the
But,
small-
It looks cool.
but really, she should have came with maybe the Sandman in the Ghostbuster uniform because that makes more sense.
Didn't it come with
It does.
Slimer and he was like super tiny?
He
or
was
something?
really super tiny.
He was
Like, it was
this
tiny.
big.
Why did they do that? Mattel, what are you doing? Like, you were just... It's just like you fell into the Ghostbusters license and were like, I don't know what we're doing here. What? Amigos. We use the same bodies. Here's a weird Vigo. Like, it was just very odd. Here's the neutrino wand, but no proton pack to go with it. It was just odd decisions all over the place. But yeah, Real Ghostbusters is like a gold mine, man. If they can do that,
And do it right.
I'd almost be more excited. I love Ghostbusters 2. I think Ghostbusters 2 is kind of unfairly treated.
It came out in 1989, so Batman was right.
It was up
before
against
it.
Batman, Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. It was up against Star Trek 5. There was a lot of big stuff that year, and it just kind of on its own. You're always going to compare it to the first one. And the first Ghostbusters is perfect.
It really is.
It's a perfect movie. Like, you cannot compare it to the first one. If it was all by itself and there was no Ghostbusters 1, everybody would think that movie was a hilarious, great action-adventure comedy.
And the time it came out was another big part of that.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, as much as I love Ghostbusters 2, I would rather them do real Ghostbusters
Yeah,
before Ghostbusters
I like
2.
the cartoon better than I like our Ghostbusters 2,
I think it has much more possibilities as a line than Ghostbusters 2 has.
And it could keep continuing on and on.
You could just
for
keep
a
going for
long time.
forever with the real Ghostbusters
A
line.
Boogeyman would be cool.
You know how we were going to say the second one was being a shorter video than the first one?
I'm not sure if it is.
Pretty sure the second video is a longer video than the first video.
There's a good chance it is.
Yeah.
From the second Ghostbuster movie, a big thing that it'd be pretty big, was the Titanic of Ghosts.
That would be humongous.
And there's people walking around.
Yeah, the Titanic.
The Titanic would be a pretty huge diorama.
The Ghost Titanic.
The Ghost Titanic, yeah, it would still be huge.
Still be.
It would be huge. You're right.
There'd be a big hole in it.
They could do like the Statue of Liberty crown as like the build a thing.
Yeah.
They could kind of do that as the build a thing for
Maybe.
Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
I think the firehouse would be a better seller if they did the firehouse main room.
Ghostbusters though, because
That would be cool.
a lot more.
That would be cool.
This is just different from the. It's just talking about Ghostbusters.
Okay.
There was this Lego the Lego Dimensions game I play at Bryson Jaren's, our cousin's house.
Yeah.
And so the Statue of Liberty sat down, and I forgot all about the second movie of Ghostbusters, and I wonder where it came.
Oh, you didn't understand what it was
I was
doing
like,
there?
Wait,
What's this doing here? What's this doing here? But you figured it out.
I finally figured it
Hey,
out.
guess what? We went way off tangent on this whole video.
I want to say about the real Ghostbusters real quick, how you're saying they could reuse the bodies.
Yeah.
I'd be more fine with that, because Mattel reused the exact same body. Each of the Ghostbusters has a slightly different body, so
Yeah.
I'm fine with them reusing that, because it wouldn't be the same body like 8 times.
Totally, yeah. It would still be Ray's body is for Ray, and Egon's body is for Egon.
Egon.
Winston is Winston. I'd be fine with that,
Yeah.
and that gives them more usage out of those bodies. Because the bodies are really well done,
Mhm.
and would save on tooling costs and molds and things like that to be able to do. Those same bodies were used for Ghostbusters 2 and Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Or if they wanted to do a truly animated style, like the Diamond Select, like the DC Collectibles Batman animated line, which is a great line.
That's a good one.
And they are definitely look animated. If they wanted to do something that was more unique and animated, they could at least reuse these bodies for Ghostbusters 2.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fine with me too. Okay, so that is it. We're
Yes.
sorry we're so long on this. If you stuck around,
Good job. More
good
power
job,
to you.
man. You're tough.
On that
I hope you got a sandwich before this, because this is a long one. Alright, so we're going to sign off on this one. I think that'll be it for today. Maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe for
We might
today.
do some later.
Maybe we'll do something later. Who knows? We're going to sign off on this one. We're going to try and find some Ecto Cooler, because it's out today.
Yeah, it's out today.
And maybe we'll do a video where you guys drink Ecto Cooler for the first time.
That'd be cool.
Because you never had Ecto Cooler before.
Yeah.
I'm old school Ecto Cooler.
If you like Ghostbusters, try the Ecto Cooler.
Yeah,
He hasn't even tried it yet, and he's recommending it.
Yes.
Marketing.
If you like Ghostbusters, try Ecto Cooler. Alright.
Actually, you shouldn't buy it because we want some.
We want to find it first, so
Yeah,
we'll go
so-
and buy it.
After
Right now.
if we post a video, then you can go.
Then you can go
Yes.
try it, because then we've had it.
Or if you're not in Ohio, go
If you're not in Ohio, that's fine, because we're in Ohio and we got to find it. Alright, we're going to sign off, and we'll see you guys
See ya.
next time.